Hello and welcome to the Palmer Performance Workshop. Now if you saw last week's video, it was all about an R1 Superbike engine failure, as you can see there. And this video is going to be all about how much it costs to fix something like that. Now I'm just going to grab my notepad, because I'm having one of those mornings where I keep putting stuff down not near where I actually need it. So anyway, let's talk about costs. So to rebuild that engine, we would have needed at absolute minimum a new crank, a new set of crankcases, 2 new con rods, and various bits and pieces like that. So let's just run through some of those costs. Now all these parts, the prices are UK retail prices, including VAT. Most of the parts that we would use would be GYTR parts, which are standard production parts that are selected off the production line as being particularly well balanced or weight matched or whatever, basically. So anyway, right, first things first, crankshaft, that was the main thing that failed. £1,796. We would then be looking at crankcases, which I haven't got an accurate price actually on these, but they're about £2,500. So then we move on to con rods. There was 2 con rods that had been hit by the balance shaft, so we would replace them. Now GYTR do a full set of them. They are £1,796 if we were going to replace all 4 and sort of do a proper job of refreshing the engine. GYTR also do a piston set, so 4 new pistons, rings, gudgeon pins, piston clips, etc. Another £1,025. 8 exhaust valves, because they'd all hit the pistons, £1,400. Other sort of odds and ends and such like, main shells, big end shells, gaskets, cam chain, bits and pieces like that, around about another £1,000. So basically by the time you've added all that together and the set of crankcases, you're looking in the region of £9,500. Now that's a lot of money, isn't it? Now the alternative is we could try and rebuild the engine on the cheap. So if we just replace like the 2 con rods, the crankshaft, manage to find somebody to repair the damage to the main journal on the crank cases, and sort of try to do it on the cheap side, you know, by the time you've added new valves in there and labour and stuff, you're still going to be up around probably the £6,000 mark. It's quite frightening, really. So anyway, it didn't really make sense to rebuild it, and especially not when we can get a new crate engine from Yamaha. Now let's take a look at that. And here we go, one big lovely crate from Yamaha, complete with a part number on the side. That's that, and you could give that part number to any Yamaha dealer and they'll be able to supply it. Now this engine came direct from Raceways Yamaha. They're the motorcycle or Yamaha motorcycle dealer that used to run the McCann's Yamaha British Superbike team. Really helpful guys, but the main reason this came through them was because they do actually tend to keep these in stock. They sell a lot of complete engines to race teams and such like. So they actually had a few of these in their warehouse. Now the big question is, you're going to ask me, how much did that cost? And I'll just check my notepad again. So the price, retail price including UK VAT, is £8,787. Now you think, obviously that's a lot of money. You know, we're not talking about, you know, a tenner, are we? But obviously with the cost that we've just talked about, you know, we were talking about rebuilding an engine. If we did a fairly proper job on it, we would have spent near enough 10 grand. And by the time we'd spent that 10 grand, we still wouldn't have an engine where every component in it was brand new. Now, every component in that engine is brand new. So value for money, realistically, this is the best way to go. And that is why we've done it. So what we've got to do with this engine now is we've obviously got to get it out of the crate. Now the customer, in this particular engine, we run a Nova close ratio gearbox. Now this is the gearbox that came out of what was his #1 race engine. So this has been cleaned and checked. You may want to know what the difference is with this. Now these gearboxes, I'm going to have to check my notepad again. There we go. So these gearboxes now work out at just over £2,000, but basically they use the standard input and output shaft, and they just provide you with a new set of gears for them. So they're closer ratio, they're super finished, and the big thing is all the gears are actually undercut as well. So that's where the engagement dogs are undercut, which helps them obviously engage better and more positively. And obviously that's a big thing when it comes to racing. But like I say, the closer ratio is obviously a big thing as well. Now, that gearbox we've got to get put into that engine. And then also what we will do is we'll kind of do a bit of a blueprint job on the cylinder head. So we'll have the cylinder head off this engine. We'll just do a bit of port matching and stuff. Obviously, when the heads get made in the factory, they're cast and then they have valve seats and stuff inserted into them. So we will just dress up basically all those imperfections from manufacturer. It's basically a light port job, and then sort of do a nice job of recutting the valve seats, putting your free angles on there and such like. And bolt it all back together with a slightly thinner kit head gasket. Get it back in the chassis, which is there, which is all ready for it. So let's get cracking and get this engine out of the crate. So let's have a look and see what you get. It's always great when they tie the plastic up just to make your job harder when you only got one hand because you're filming. Rookie mistake there, eh? And there we go. One engine. Now the fun bit is obviously lifting this out of the crate. You could smash the crate up, to be fair, and it would come out easier. But what I'll probably do is slot my little engine crane under it and just put a strap around it and hoist it out, because I've got to hoist it on the bench anyway. I'm getting too old for lugging these things on the bench on my own. They are a little bit on the heavy side, so yeah. Comes with throttle bodies on it, starter motor on it. This is essentially exactly how it would come off the production line, ready to go in a chassis. Yeah, even got the AIS on it, which we don't use, and yeah, ignition coils, the whole lot really. So yeah, let's get it hoisted out and get it on the bench, start cracking on. So you may or may not have seen my engine crane design before. It's something that I sort of came up with, and then my friend Wayne, who runs a company called Champion Equipment, made for me. Wayne's actually worth a look. Champion Equipment does pit boards and various stands and all sorts of fabrication and bits and pieces, so well worth looking him up on Facebook or Instagram, Champion Equipment. So yeah, basically put a strap around the engine, hoist it up, pull the box out of the way, then it slots over my bench, and then you can see on my engine bench I've got brackets on the wall that then the motor can fix to, and then that holds it nice and steady when I'm trying to undo the bolts and such like. So something that may surprise you about these engines when you get them new in the crate: they don't come with any oil in them. You can see there's no oil in them whatsoever, and they're not run at all. You see, clean, no carbon or anything in there. So they are completely dry of oil. Yeah, there's no oil residues in there at all. There is bits of grease and stuff here and there, but there's no, you never see any sort of assembly lube like you would put into an engine when you're sort of building it in the workshop. So a really, really important thing with these engines when you do buy one and you put it in a bike is that you actually prime the oil system before running it. And obviously without any oil cooler on as well, you know, you need to fill all the oil cooler and everything. So the best way to do that is actually by obviously putting the oil cooler on, putting it in the bike and everything, and filling it up with oil. And then what I do, and I do this on pretty much all the engines I build, is I actually pull the clutch out, and then I'll manually, I've got various different tools that I've made up for manually driving the oil pump to actually prime the engine and get oil absolutely everywhere and get it all up to pressure before starting it. And that is so important to the engine for a good start in its new life, you know. One other interesting little thing I'll just point out, this one's actually come off okay, but I have experienced this a couple of times over the years with new engines and with bikes that haven't had the clutch out before, where the clutch nut has actually sort of galled itself onto the thread Like they're quite a fine pitch. It's 20 by 1 mil, and I've had instances where you've gone to undo it and it's actually picked up on the thread and damaged the sort of trashed the nut and damaged the thread on the input shaft, which is a big pain if that happens to you. So if you're ever going to pull a clutch out of an R1 yourself, just bear that in mind. Go easy with it. I normally spray them with a bit of lube sort of on the thread that's exposed before you start trying to undo it, and this one came off okay. So maybe it was a little problem that they had in manufacture, I don't know, but it all seems to be good now. But anyway, let's get back to pulling it apart. And there you go, that's what the inside of a new engine looks like. Nice and shiny. We will probably clean this head face up a bit because standard machining quality is not amazing. It's obviously good enough, but you know. But what's interesting about the R1s and a lot of the newer bikes now is most of them actually have a CNC machine combustion chamber rather than just a cast sort of mess. So there's not actually a huge amount to be gained from doing any sort of porting work in this area because of how well it's sort of done from the factory. And ultimately that's why these things now make so much horsepower from the factory, because the finishing processes when they're building these things or making these things, manufacturing these things, they're so much better now. And let's have a little shot of the randomness that it's a crossplane engine and how the pistons move. All over the place. That's what gives them that unique sound. So, Nova gearbox has been fitted in, and before we ever bolt anything back together, we like to make sure that it goes through all the gears. So there we go, that's neutral, but that's first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and fifth gear is actually on the input shaft, all the ones that move to connect it, that's down there, fifth and sixth. Back to fifth, back to fourth, back to third, back to second, back to first, and then back to neutral. Job's a dream. So that bottom crankcase all cleaned up, all the gasket mess and everything's been taken out. Been cleaned up. So that is ready to go back together. So I'll cover that up now for the time being. Just got to clean the bottom crankcase up a little bit. As you can see, all the brand new engine, so all the shells and everything brand new. So we'll just give that a bit of a clean up, make sure the gasket faces are clean on that, and then we can reassemble. I am waiting for a parts delivery of new crankcase bolts and that, because they are meant to be one use only. So whilst we're waiting for them to turn up, we can crack on with a cylinder head. Head all stripped out, and we won't do anything too major with this, but you can see what I was talking about. You've got like the machined area of the valve seat and the throat of the inlet port, for example, and then you've just got the transition into where it goes into the sort of cast part of the head. And all we're going to do is literally just blend that all in and make that nice, just to sort of promote flow into the cylinder. So nothing major. Same sort of thing on the exhaust side as well, but just tends to perk them up a little bit, give them that little bit of extra peak horsepower, a couple of more horsepower here and there. And we'll get that done, sort of do a nice job on the valve seats, get it assembled, get the motor built back up, back in the bike, and away we go. And that's about it for this week's video. I hope this video has given you guys an insight as to the costs involved in racing something like a Yamaha R1 Superbike. Over the next few days, I'll get the thing built back up, some of the head work done, back in the bike. off to the dyno, get it running, dyno checked, any mapping tweaks done, and get the bikes on their way back out to Spain to crack on with their season's racing. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch up with you soon.